rescue a cow, something like that, because why the hell not, I guess. But um, like, I don't really want to see like another Blubber All Engines Go type cartoon, but rather something that we've seen previously over 13 years ago and that. And I did wonder too for the longest time with this new 2026 project, it was going to be a new TV show, which it is now. I'm starting to wonder if it'll be a placeholder until, if it's still happening, until we get the live action movie by Mark Forster, even though we have no idea where its current production status is at, even though I think Mattel did state that yes, the movie was still supposedly in production as of March last year anyway. And now I don't know if you guys remember seeing any videos by like a few people like Dieselworks123 or Soda Productions. Yes, I am aware about the controversy about him, but I'm not here again to discuss about the actual YouTuber and stuff like that. But you guys can draw your conclusions. Like, I'm not going to go there or anything. But there were a few videos going around that Mattel, back in September, October last year, at MIPCOM, which is some kind of media conference in Cannes in France, which is sort of the Cannes film festival, but with just regular media and stuff. Mattel actually had a panel over at the event, and some little news online articles did state that Thomas was going to have a pretty big spotlights in the new in it's at that little panel at MIPCOM, I should say, alongside other IPs like Hot Wheels, and even Pingu of all characters was going to make some kind of big mention and stuff, or have some new stuff getting announced by from those IPs and stuff. But MIPCOM came and went, and unfortunately, we got absolute fuck all when it comes to new Thomas merchandise and stuff. And I don't know about some of you guys who kept up with everything, but I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get any new updates regarding what the 2026 project was going to be, or even the current status of the live action movie and that. And I don't know if the original plan, I think it was anyway, Mattel to originally give our first look at the new show over MIPCOM, but I don't know if they decide pull out the last minute because general backlash for the fandom or anything like that. But yes, Mattel hasn't really been in best terms of people from us from the fandom and stuff, especially with All Engines Go and stuff, and how they got rid of key core characters Henry, for example, and stuff. And I reckon they thought that when they first announced it, then people were going to think oh no, it's All Engines Go 2.0 and stuff like that. And I don't know. I really want to be hopeful about this, but something tells me that I've got to keep my guard down still. So I have no idea when exactly Mattel will give us our first look at the new 2026 show. There's also been some talk about possibly Mattel renaming the brand from Thomas and Friends to Thomas and Pals, of all names and stuff. According to one of their new multi-packs from some the diecast engines that was leaked around the same time, when all of the new push along and the motorized engines were starting getting released and stuff. Yeah, Like, there could be a very odd chance now. I guess we can always take it with, like, a little pinch of salt, but there could be a very, very odd chance that what Mattel is cooking up might actually be like, where the show was at around season 17 and 18, including like the King of the Railway and the Tale of the Brave movies and stuff. But at the same time, too, it could be another shit show or dumpster fire like All Engines Go. But if the show were to, like, disappoint, well, all I'm saying is there's nothing really to be, overly upset or concerned about. Like, we've always got, like, the fandom and all the amazing content they give us 24/7 and stuff, let alone companies like Bachman still making merchandise based off the original show from season 1 to season 24. And for the Thomas and the Magic Railroad director's cut, I was watching a video from a user ThomasFan123. I'm hoping that, yeah, I think it's around that, but there was some kind of like little leaked audio interview from Joseph Marshall, one of the co-creators or executives behind the reconstruction of the director's cut, and he did specify that the actual, essentially a Blu-ray release of all, like, versions of the director's cuts is looking at a late 2026 release, so somewhere between the end or, like, the start of, like, either the third or the fourth quarter, but only time will tell. But I wouldn't be too surprised that they come out and, like, announce the Blu-ray release for the director's cut, and when we can, go and pre-order and stuff, which personally I don't think will be too far away from that happening. Other than that, yes, it's still really unknown. Rather, the Mark Forster movie's still happening, because we've actually got 2 movies by Mattel coming up this year. One being the live-action Masters of the Universe, or the He-Man movie. That's been in development for just as long as the Mark Forster movie, for example, and a live-action Matchbox movie that's starring John Cena, which could be a Apple TV exclusive, like streaming only movie, but it could get a theatrical release, who knows. But let's say one of them or both of them underperforms, both on streaming and in the box office theatrically, and Mattel were to, like, decide to, like, scrap all their upcoming movies, including the Mark Forster movie, because how poor, well, not well resected those movies were, financially speaking. But only time will tell. Like, I did hear, like, Mattel was sent a rough cut of the Masters of the Universe movie, and from what I heard, the executives were impressed, so I guess there's a little hope that He-Man will succeed just like Barbie did back in 2023, but still early days yet, is all I can say. But other than that, I'm really hoping that Mattel isn't trying to, like, fuck us over or anything like that with the fandom, saying, like, we will, like, give us, like, pretty good looking merchandise one year, and the next year they basically go back to the old routine stuff. But again, it's still early days, so thank you guys so much for watching this little video. I know it's it was a bit of a tough one to discuss, but, like, I know some people might agree with me or some people might disagree with me of, like, some of the statements I made throughout the video, but at the end of the day, it's all just, like, our silly personal opinions. Like, you are entitled to, like, have your rights or opinion, what you think on, like, a current matter is regarding, like, Thomas or whatever. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!